Through the third week of session now, Senator. A lot of bills moving through the process right now in committees, and we're also set to hear the big address from the governor next week already.
That's true. It does seem like these first 3 weeks have went rather fast, Dean, on activities and, of course, people showing up at the office, et cetera. And yes, it's time for the state of the state. With that, something that is of great interest to me. I mean, all the priorities the governor's put forth are important to me, but as you well know, I care a lot about the appropriations process and budget process. Of course, we're going to get to see what the governor's priorities are within the budget that he's going to propose or the governor's office is going to propose. And with that, appropriation hearings have begun both in the House as well as the Senate. We've just looked at a bill or two at this point, and there's been people coming in and discussing budget, but I know my friends working in the House, they've been meeting on some sub-appropriations committee to try to hit the ground running as soon as the governor drops his budget. So that also speeds up things, at least for me and my role here in the Senate.
Two or three priorities for you.
Yes, that's very true. If we looked at one of the bills that I've filed, and that bill is an SJR, which stands for Senate Joint Resolution, which means it's something that would be put on a ballot in the future if it passes, and it has to make through both sides. The legislature, governor has to sign it. Then the citizens will vote on that. And what caused this bill or this need is the sheriff's retirement system. I've been fairly involved with retirement systems in our state during my time working in the legislature. And in 2021, the Missouri Supreme Court's ruling in Fowler versus Missouri Sheriff's retirement system created a stress and uncertainty within law enforcement and within the sheriff's retirement fund is what it ultimately did. The surcharge that was used whenever the sheriffs and law enforcement, if Rusty Black gets in trouble and somebody comes to my house and says, I'm going to give you this subpoena, this warrant, et cetera, there's a fee that you get charged with doing that. Well, it took that ability to take that fee and put that into the sheriff's retirement fund. It stopped funding that, honestly. So last year we did a temporary fix to help things until we can get something done better. And that temporary fix included appropriating $2.5 million out of general revenue to the sheriff's retirement fund. And for sure, I'm one of the people that believe we need to come up with a better system than doing that. So this year I filed SJR 71, and that will constitutionally make sheriffs part of the administrators of justice in our state. That's what the purpose of the bill would be. And with that, that would allow some kind of fee structure to be able to help fund the sheriff system. Now, there's other things. It's not going to be just this one thing that funds that. There's other things going on that will include possibly counties or sheriffs themselves contributing a few more dollars as well. So yes, that's a priority. And it's really something that I feel like needs to get accomplished. It's very, very important as we look at the law enforcement in our state and supporting law enforcement to get this component done. And sometimes that's not the stuff that grabs the headlines, but it's very, very important. And also when we're talking about retirement system, loggers, that's a local government retirement system, and it has lots of entities in our state as part of that. When the system was first designed and the board put together, et cetera, we've made no changes to that over the last, I want to say 40 years, and I may be over 40 years, and I may be getting that timeline broke up just a little bit. And all this bill, it doesn't really change the function, but change the functions of the board, the people going on the board. And it's a decision that group people that right now oversee loggers, their board of trustees have come up with this, and this is a plan that we want to do and go forward. It doesn't change anything dealing with retirement or how people contribute or what they can expect from it. It's changing the board structure and making it more consistent and more systematic like other structures as well. I know another thing that I want to take a minute or two. One of the things that I've been very concerned with and trying to make a difference, sometimes quietly more than loudly, is PTSD and effective treatments for PSD, primarily around first responders and veterans. And both of us know that PSD affects more people than that. Those are the two things that I've kind of focused in, or the two groups of people that I've focused in to try to do that. And some of that comes out of a personal story from my family. that we're not going to go through, but one of the treatments that we found that have been very successful is combining an EEG of the patient's brain with treatment from TMS, and that's transcranial magnetic stimulation. And by combining those two things, there's been really excellent 90%, 85% positive results from this treatment instead of 5 or 10. When I say results, it helps those patients with those symptoms of flashback, anxiety, not being able to sleep, depression, suicidal thoughts, and things like that. And my wife and I and my staff here, as well as with other people in the Capitol, have pushed to help get treatment like this started in our state. And the results are looking very good. And you will continue to see me push and try to advocate for something in that area.
Big week for some folks who live in the 12th senatorial district as well, with the gubernatorial appointments committee was held this week as well.
That's true. Part of the constituents, people from home that made it to the Capitol this week on Wednesday, retired Senator Dan Hageman. I think you know him as the senator from the great Northwest part of the state. He has been appointed by the governor on the MoDOT board, State Highway and Transportation Commission. That hearing was on Wednesday. And when we went through that hearing process as well, Mr. Dennis Hicks, and Dennis is a resident of Livingston County, and he was appointed Eastern District Commissioner by the local commission when there was an opening up. And he went through that process as well in the committee on Wednesday afternoon. And now we hope very soon that we'll get those appointments all passed through the Senate. Those people will be completely official. I mean, they're doing the job now, but we have a role as senators to try to meet constitutional deadlines of getting those people appointed, and I'm pretty confident we will get that done. So yeah, that's right. It was great to see both those gentlemen this week.